spiritual companion this Ramadan.
While Muslims around the world are observing the holy month of Ramadan, Uyghur Muslims in China are facing a prohibition of their fasting. Um, the Chinese authorities have instructed Muslims in the northwestern province of Xinjiang that their children should not fast during the month of Ramadan, and the children are also questioned by the authorities to see if their parents are fasting. The issue of the Uyghur Muslims in China is an issue that I think has been brought forward to the rest of the world in the past 5 years, after being relatively not being known. And it's an issue that our brothers and sisters in China are still feeling the heavy handedness of the Chinese government in their quest to essentially wipe out the Chinese Uyghur Muslim population. But to chat to us about that is Dolkan Isa is joining us from Germany. Dolkan, really terrifying, news coming out of China. I mean, you can imagine that the month of Ramadan is the holiest of months in the Islamic calendar, and one can only imagine not being able to observe Ramadan, not being able to fast. What are you getting from those out in northeast China?
Well, first, salam alaikum. Thank you very much to having me. As you said, as it now is the Ramadan month, holy Ramadan, and 1.5 billion Muslim around the world very peacefully have a Ramadan fasting. But unfortunately, around 25 million Uyghur Muslim in East Turkestan cannot fasting. They don't have religious freedom. It is not new case. Actually, before 2014, current President Xi Jinping talks of power, there is a little bit religious freedom. At least people can fasting. Not all, of course. Before also, for example, government employer cannot fasting, school children, teacher cannot fasting, but rest of some people they allowed to fasting. But 2014 in May, and the Chinese government launched a strike hard campaign against the violent terrorism, so-called, and then marks the first escalation of the discriminatory policy, and particularly mass arbitrary detention targeting Uyghur and other Turkic Muslim in Turkestan. Name of countering terrorism. Purpose of this campaign was to fight for three evil. It is three evil force for the ethnic separatism, violent terrorism, religious extremism. The under this had then and mass arrested starting 2016. Chinese government built concentration camp. Now is at the 3 million Uyghur Kazakh Muslim are suffering concentration camp. So now this time since 2016, and nearly all mosque was closed and not allowed to praying even, and the collected Quran, confiscation Quran, burning Quran, and Xi Jinping government, and also forced sterilization women. And there is a zero tolerance for the religious of belief, because Chinese government and Xi Jinping openly judged, saying Islam is ideological disaster, ideological illness. It must be eradicated. This is the official slogan of the Chinese Communist Party as Xi Jinping. So on this framework, there is no possibility. But sometimes we have seen time to time Chinese government organize some propaganda tour, particularly Muslim country, and during the Ramadan time, then and they organize some propaganda tour just to force to people and bring the people to mosque and asking them to, you have to fast today, you have to praying. So make such a game, creating such kind of studio. And the Muslim leader journals, oh, we went to the Turkestan, is everything fine? We went to the mosque, people freely praying. But it is just Chinese government doing one day freedom, not freedom of religious, not freedom religious, of course, just Chinese government creating such a game. Yes.
No, really horrific scenes that you're painting there. But I want us to focus a bit on, some of these evil methods that they are implementing, especially in trying to police whether or not people are observing Ramadan. what what are they doing? What are they coming into people's homes? How talking to children? What are they doing to make sure, that this evil campaign, this evil plan of theirs of having people not observe Ramadan is accomplished?
Well, in the past, people secretly fasting. For example, in the morning and the Zuhur time, people even close the windows and turn on, because you couldn't turn off the light, because police and on the street all the area is monitoring, because in the morning is the breakfast time and is the Zuhur, and which light is turned on, then the police immediately came to the punish. This is the before 2016, but 2017, 2016, end of 2016, and the built concentration camp. All Uyghur, all Muslim who once in life fasting, or once in life went to the mosque, once in the life went to the Mecca for Hajj, or once I was life to the travel to the foreign country, exile. This all people put the concentration camp. So that's why, and also not is good enough during the Ramadan time, and not only Ramadan time, the daily time. Chinese government officially open broadcasting 2018, 2019, 2 million Chinese Communist Party members, Chinese, and sent to the Uyghur family, staying with you 24 hours, long, very long, months long, 24, staying same bed, same house, monitoring you. What do you eat? What do you thinking? What is your daily life? And of course, every village area is a surveillance system monitoring. But besides only in-person surveillance, staying with the Chinese government, but 2 million people sent 2 million Uyghur home, and the monitoring, and that time was so many rape cases was happening, because most of the men is a concentration camp, women, children, the daughter, wife is at home. You cannot refuse, even during the Ramadan time, you have to eat together, lunch together, and also, okay, people is no choice, and the fasting, don't fasting, but forced to eat pork. Chinese people brings pork and make cook together. If you all don't eat pork, you are religious fundamentalist, you are three evil, then punish them. So this kind of restrictions, this kind of monitoring system, Chinese government established.
Can you tell us a bit about this ethnic unity campaign that the Chinese government has gone upon, targeting Muslim communities and pressuring them or offer members of the ethnic Uyghur Muslim families to grow non-Muslim traditions. This campaign, how long has it been running for, and how is it executed?
Well, this campaign and the time to time Chinese government, as I said at the beginning, 2014, starting and the 1 year Strahat campaign. But it is not end after 1 year. Since until now, still continue ongoing. But time to time Chinese government doing the same, different of name. It's actually this territory is occupied territory. This 1949, Chinese Communist Army occupied this land. Since then, Chinese government used a different of name, used a different strategy, different tactic to trying to persecution, and the politically, economically, religiously, ethnic, and the persecution. And this is most of the important Chinese policy is assimilation policy until 2016. But since 2016 and even 2014, Xi Jinping took the power. Chinese government discrimination and assimilation policy into genocidal policy. So Chinese government main aim is the Uyghurs should be Uyghur Muslim, should be denounce your national identity, should be denounce your religious identity, should be bring Chinese. But we are created by God as a Uyghur. We are Muslim. We cannot, is more than 25 million people cannot turn by Chinese. It is impossible because Allah give creating us a Uyghur. We have our own language, we have our own religious, we have our own identity, we have how we can be in China. This is the most important problem, because in China, and according to the Chinese constitution of Chinese national statistics, there is a 56 ethnic group in China. But this is on the paper. But in the reality, only Tibetan and Uyghur Muslim is this own identity. Rest of them all already assimilated. Only name is safe. See, lost the traditions, lost the language, lost the religious, and in China more than 75% is the anti-religious people. 75 is the no believer, and only Tibetan believe in Buddhism. Uyghur, Kazakh, we are Muslim. So Chinese government, Chinese Communist Party, actually anti-religious organization, cannot tolerance any religious, not only Muslim, even Tibetan. Chinese Christian also suffering a lot today, but mostly targeting Uyghur Muslim, because saying Islam is a ideological illness, it must be eradicated. They are saying so this is, and the Chinese Communist Party, that's why cannot accept the diversity. Chinese government saying you will be died or you should be being Chinese. This is the main purpose. This is the strategy of Chinese government.
No, Jazakallah so much, Dolkan Isa, there joining us from Germany, really painting a vivid picture, a horrific picture that is, about how Uyghur Muslims in China are forced to not observe the holy month of Ramadan, and are forced to eat pork, and are put in concentration camps. Wow, imagine that. Imagine not being able to observe the holy month of Ramadan. But anyway, Dolkan, Jazakallah so much for joining us. Our brothers and sisters in China, Uyghur Muslims, are in our thoughts and prayers, and will continue to try and spread the message to the rest of the world about what's going on in that part of the world, and make sure that it does not continue as it does. It can't be business as normal. Jazakallah so much.
Thank you. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Yeah, imagine that. We come to the end of our show on a really somber mood. That is, imagine that. Imagine today. This is what, the second week of Ramadan, and you couldn't fast. You're forbidden, and you're put in a concentration camp, and you're forced to eat pork, and your children were asked and detained to make sure that they are not fasting. To ask them if you are fasting, and if they say yes, you'd be severely punished. That's what the Chinese government is doing, and that's what's happening in that part of the world. But as I mentioned, they're in our thoughts, our prayers. We've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for giving me your time. Thank you so much to Nasreen, our head producer, and Olani Ndwandwe, who's our head of technical. They're pressing all the buttons. Make sure that I come to you looking good and sounding as crisp as possible. Tomorrow, Ashraf Ghana will be back, and he'll be with you from 8 right until 10 on the Ashraf Ghana show. But from me, Salailo Makwidire, until we meet again, Assalamu alaikum, and enjoy your Ramadan. Goodbye.